I know many people, and I'm included in this, that have had deep shifts in identity and insight experiences, deep movements on the path of awakening, and yet they've found that their trauma symptoms continue to arise in life, in social situations, at home. The body still displays signs of being traumatized. And it can come as a bit of a shock, because we might have felt like at one point, we've had this shift in identity or this awakening experience, whatever it is. And it might feel like at the time, yes, I've cracked it, I've got it. There's no more trauma suffering anymore. I've seen the nature of delusive self-view and I'm free. But then over time, might be months, weeks or years. Normally it's not years. If you're suffering with a traumatized nervous system, you've got PTSD or complex trauma, it's probably not years. In a matter of months, you'll notice that, the body's still rigged. It's still primed to view the world as a deep threat. And it seems like this insight, this deep insight into the nature of self, hasn't really shifted that, it hasn't changed it. And if that's you, if you can relate to this, and there's many people that can, first of all, it's okay. That's totally natural, totally normal. The nature of trauma and the nature of a traumatized nervous system is such that it will not be suddenly healed like that, with an instant of insight, with a sudden dropping of a veil of the mind. The conditioned body will not suddenly recondition itself in an instant. And we can kind of sense that. That's not really the nature of how conditioning works. So if your body-mind, like my body-mind, this being has been conditioned by adverse childhood experiences of traumatization, and you feel it viewing the world with hypervigilance, in constant states of fight, flight or freeze, then you can know that this has happened over time. And it's going to take some time for this conditioning to be let go of. And the letting go of it is not something for the mind. The mind's involved, for sure, but it's not something we do just by seeing through delusion. So, and it can get a bit confusing if you're on a path of awakening, because that seems to be what all the talk is about, isn't it? Like, have clear seeing, clear insight, do all these insight practices where we look at the nature of self, and if we are successful, whatever that looks like, we'll be free. We'll be free from suffering. But the nature of trauma, it doesn't really respond too well to that. In fact, that kind of insight practice, I'm doing that because it's very kind of like pointing, going to the source. That kind of insight practice and inquiry practice can put so much pressure on an already overwhelmed nervous system that it can be detrimental sometimes. See, if you are traumatized, if you've got a traumatized body, mind, being, you know what it's like to feel under threat, overwhelmed, diminished in capacity, scared, essentially. Might not be scared as in like psychologically scared, but the body's feeling fear, danger, looking around, scanning the world for, the end of the world, really. It's scanning the world for mortal danger. And it's doing it quite naturally. It's an autonomic response. So autonomic means it's automatic. It's happening all of its own accord, like breathing, like digestion. The body-mind's been so deeply conditioned by trauma that it automatically scans for danger. And no amount of awakening insight can retrain the body-mind to learn a different way. Now, I'm not saying it can't help. It definitely does help to see through like the delusive mechanisms of mind and all of our habits of thought. That's really, really helpful. But if we are suffering with trauma, we really deserve to show ourselves patience and kindness, and to work with this hypervigilance gently over time, because those things, patience, kindness, gentleness, they're the things that we're missing from us. We don't know how to do it. Often, if you're suffering with PTSD or especially complex trauma, born from early childhood, you've never really been shown what peace and kindness and patience look like. We've never had it in our lives. We've never learnt the skills. All our body's been able to do is meet the world as if it's a threat. So we have to learn, often for the very first time, how to begin to see the world and meet the world gently without falling into these states of fight, flight and freeze. And that's not easy. And it won't be done just by a meditation practice. There's so much clear evidence out there to show that actually if you've got a traumatized nervous system, it needs consistent, safe, titrated, gentle support. You're basically undoing old conditioning, survival conditioning, letting that play out and then relearning how to be in the world from a place of safety. Now, the key things for that, in my experience, are, well, first of all, support. We need to feel supported. So support from other people, family, friends, maybe professionals. Support us in the conditions in our own life. If we're in a really, what's like a turbulent lifestyle, a turbulent condition where there's just noise and lack of safety all around us, it's going to be very difficult for the body to feel safe and start to begin to trust the environment. So we need security in people, supportive people, security and safety in conditions, living conditions, working conditions, those kind of things. And then we need to, be patient and speak to each other about it. So I'm not going to go into too much about exactly how we can heal trauma, because there's a lot out there, and I've talked a lot about some of the tools available to us, some of the people that are offering incredible trauma support and healing practices. I'll name some of them again. Irie Lyon is incredible, and she offers a smart body, smart mind. I think it's like a 12-week path or plan that you can work directly with her. So she's amazing. Somatic experiencing practitioners of any kind are qualified to guide us through our trauma healing practice. But if it comes down to reading, well, reading Peter Levine's work, who's the founder of somatic experiencing, he talks in depth about this gentle, titrated, unfolding approach to heal our trauma. I really love Ali Wise and what she's sharing in the world. She's just consistently fantastic and really measured. She's got a deep insight into the nature of a traumatized nervous system. So you can find her and some of her books online. So those are some of the things that can help you. But I guess I want to encourage to not be too dismayed if you've had deep insights, deep shifts of awakening, deep changes in the way that we view the world, and yet you still feel your nervous system being re-triggered, still responding in the world with trauma. That's totally natural. That's the way it goes. So we don't drop the path of awakening if you're on it. Continue to explore the nature of presence and being, but also support ourselves if we can with these other tools and practices and groups of people, communities, to help us gently unfold and heal our trauma over time. But it's not going to happen overnight. There is no one sudden insight that makes the complex body-mind suddenly reorient itself on a nervous system genetic level. That's not how it goes. It's one step at a time, gently, slowly, backwards a bit, forwards a bit, sideways a bit. But over time, if we take this approach and we work with people and we have patience, we begin to see and feel the benefits and notice that we feel safer. The body feels less traumatized, less vigilant, less fearful. And if we're on the path of awakening and we're supporting ourselves with this, we can have both this sense of safety and clear seeing, which is an incredible combination, beyond anything that the traumatized youths that we were could ever dream of.